my name is Snehal Kanade, and my today's topic is the story of the Golden Touch. Once upon a time, a king name was Midas, and he was the extremely fond of the gold. He was the blessed with the enormous wealth, and he is a kingdom of the treasury, and he was the always unhappy. But he could thus constantly think of the wealth, and he could not be the ms of the wanted of the more. So the he through that the he had to the golden touch, and that would make him to the happiness man on the earth. And as anything he touched to the would turn into the gold. Once day the king Midas was the continue of the his gold coins, and the Greek gold is appear before the him of the granted him, and he wished for the few of the good deeds. He without thinking much, but the king Midas is quickly wished for anything, and that he touched to the turn and the gold. So the Greek god is a granted kind king of the Midas, and the wish of the golden touch and the vanished. The sometime later, the king was the seated under the huge apple tree, and he is the garden, and the apple fell beside him. The king picked up and the apple, and the fell beside him. The apple is immediately turned into the gold. The king is could not believe his eyes, and he touched the apple. The trees the next, and which is the turn into the gold, and as well as to the king is touched and turned into the gold. And the king was the thrilled that the he went about to the touching of all random things around him, and the all of those things are the turned into the gold instantly. And the king was the filled with the joy, and was the dazzled with the excitement. He is enter with a palace in a days, and full of the excitement. After some times, the king was the hungry, and was looking eat some foods. And however, the whatever food is touched into the gold, and thus the king was could not do the anything, and even through the he was striving and leading to the extreme disappointment. The king Midas has a daughter name is a Marigold, and the seeing that the her father was a hungry, and the disappointment, the frustrated and the trouble, the Marigold come to the running and to her the father, and the threw her arms around him and comfort him. But he is a utter to the horror, and even is the Marigold turned into the gold, and he was the hugged her back. The king was the disbelief and the horror, but the he turned his the dearest daughter and into the gold too. So the king Midas heart is a snack, and his face are turned into the unbelievable grief and the pain. But he was the daughter is turned into the golden status, and the king was cried and the agony of the repentant, and he held to the wishes for the golden touch. The king is cried and the agony, and was the repentant that he was the wishes for the golden touch. It took no time for the king, and they realized that he is a greed and was the biggest fault, and the he is a greed had to the lifeless golden status of his innocent little girls. And then the Greek god is a take wish with him, and after soon the golden Greek is reappeared before the king, and took the beauty on his condition. The Greek god is took back and the golden touch from the king. The god the god is told King Midas and take a dip and the pond and the palace of the sprinkle and then the pond water of on the things, and he wanted to change back of the previous condition, but the king is obediently followed by the Greek god and asked him to do the after talking a dip in the pond, but he is a sprinkle water and the marigold, and she was the back to the normal and again, and the king was delighted to the scene, and the beloved of the daughter is back to the usual self, and the promises of the never to be the greedy again. About the story, the King Midas is explained to us to the dangerous and being to the greedy, and we could not be the unhappy and content with all we have to the live peacefully and happy life. So the story is teach us to the danger of the being is greedy, and moral of the King Midas story is the one should be the never greedy and is alive, because the wish of being the greedy and does not give to the fruit full return in the future. Thank you.